Continuamos aquí, Perspectiva USA. Soy Dani Alexandrino, dándole las gracias a cada uno de ustedes por siempre estar conectaditos, ya sea que lo hacen a través del canal 153 de SiriusXM o a través de americanomedia.com. Y bueno, como lo prometido es deuda, hoy tenemos una entrevista especial y exclusiva con Kimberly Guilfoyle, quien es o fue asesora del presidente número 45 de los Estados Unidos, Donald Trump. También se desempeñó como fiscal de distrito en San Francisco, California, y también en Los Ángeles. Pero para hablarnos un poquito más sobre lo que acontece en nuestra nación y el hecho de que esta tarde, esta noche, y se está llevando a cabo en estos momentos, las vistas públicas del circo del comité de enero 6, vamos entonces a darle la bienvenida. Good evening, Kimberly. It is a pleasure for you to be here with us on Perspectiva USA.
Fantastic.
Welcome.
Wonderful to be with you.
Let's begin with the circus that is going on right now in Congress, which is the January 6 hearings. I've been speaking about this in all of my shows, and one of the things I keep reminding our audience is this is not this is not a trial. This is just a circus, a political circus. Congress does not have punitive rights. They don't have the power to prosecute anybody. This is just merely an effort to de-estimate and delegitimize Donald Trump. How do you see this?
You're 100% correct, and your coverage has been excellent. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here with you today and to speak on these issues. As you know, myself, I have been an unjust, unfair target of the January 6th investigation, along with our whole family. And it's just shameful what they have done to weaponize Congress against United States family, against the president, for no wrongdoing whatsoever. And that's what we're seeing here. It's political theater. It is a circus, like you said. They're trying to punish their, political opponents. And this is really just another example of just the disgrace of what's become a public office. Some of the Democrats and the liberals trying to go after Donald Trump and the family. It's one failed investigation after the other. Russia, the Mueller investigation, the phony impeachments, the whole thing. It's just shameful because President Trump did so much to serve the American people, and by the way, enjoyed tremendous support from Latinos across this country. He truly understands the policies that we need in place, and they want to distract away from that to try to prevent him from holding office again.
Kimberly, so I want to take up on another thing you mentioned, which is the political persecution. As a Hispanic conservative who has 3 radio shows, not just the one in Americano Media, I have one in Radio Mambi, which is precisely one of those radio stations that belongs to the 18 radio stations that were purchased by this radical left-wing group supported by George Soros. This persecution has actually extended now to Hispanic conservative voices. What can we do to actually avoid furthering this persecution against conservative voices?
Well, I think exactly what we're doing right now is there really needs to be a center-right media that reaches out to Hispanics, Latinos across this country to combat against the overreach by George Soros and those that are trying to do harm to this country. He understands, as a smart man, that Latinos and Hispanics are incredibly important, influential in politics and in the future of this country going forward. So he wants to do a power grab to try to silence and to shape and to thwart any efforts by American Hispanics and Latinos to express their viewpoints and to actually be able to have a voice for themselves in politics. For too long, the Democrats took for granted the votes and support of American Hispanics and Latinos. And now, under President Trump, we have seen that they understand what it means to be able to be a true conservative and to support the same America First values. That is the party that they're attracted to, and it scares the hell out of the left and out of people like George Soros, who now want to try to literally indoctrinate Latinos and Hispanics across this country and tell them what to think and what to believe and what to do. He's done the same thing across the country with prosecutors' offices, really changing the shape and face of prosecutors across the country. We saw it in San Francisco. We've seen it in Los Angeles with all George Soros-backed prosecutors.
75 of them.
Yeah, and now he's doing the power grab in across the country for Latinos, which we cannot allow.
Now that, and continuing along these lines of censorship, Senators Josh Hawley and Chuck Grassley on Wednesday published a series of documents which actually tell the truth about what the Biden administration's intentions were behind the disinformation board. And they were lying publicly, saying that this was just to try to curtail Russian disinformation, Chinese disinformation. And when you read those documents, because I read them myself, it was actually aimed at domestic voices, people who actually question the veracity and the transparency of the 2020 elections, people who doubt about the efficacy of the COVID-19 vaccine, all of these things. Isn't this dangerous in the United States of America for us to be seeing this from one of our local parties?
Yes, you're absolutely right. I think it's just really shameful, but it's important that we get this information out there. That is why it is so important to have this center-right media available and in fact targeted to be inclusive to Hispanics and to Latinos. It is a powerful way to be able to connect. We can't trust the mainstream media. We can't trust some of these elected officials. And we've seen now hard evidence and proof of what they intend and who they are targeting. And this is why we should be very, very, vigilant about what we believe and what we think, and in fact getting the information out there to so many people that want the truth, that want to do the homework, that want to know what's going on in this country and to stand for themselves so they have a voice. We cannot let people like this, elected officials and people backed by George Soros, censor and silence Latinos and Hispanics across this country.
Kimberly, I have a couple more topics that I want to discuss with you, and I'm running out of time, so let's hope that I have enough time for both of them. One of them is Congress just recently passed H.R. 7910, which looks to control, the magazines, the type of magazines we buy as gun owners and defenders of the Second Amendment. And another one, another of the issues is increasing the minimum age to purchase a rifle from 18 to 21. I want your quick take on this, particularly because I come from a family of military men. My brother was signed into the Marines at 17. My mom had to sign the paperwork. So how is it that men at 17 are mature enough to go and fight and die for our country, but not to purchase a firearm?
You're absolutely right. This is a distinct, deliberate power grab at our Second Amendment rights. So you're able to serve your country and die for your country, but they're going to actually discriminate against law-abiding Americans that have their right and ability to be able to have weapons and arm themselves. This is shameful. And they use the hysteria and problems of different things in the media happening to be able to do this power grab. And that's why this is so alarming, and people should really be concerned. If you allow them to seize and take away your Second Amendment right, what else is next? And that's why President Trump has been such an ardent supporter of the Constitution, of the rule of law enforcement and military and veterans, and of the Second Amendment. It is imperative that we as Hispanics and Latinos stand for that as well.
Finally, the mainstream media, as well as the Democrats, have been trying to sow discord between President Donald Trump and Governor Ron DeSantis. How, President Trump is your father-in-law. How is that relationship? Should we worry? Is the Republican Party divided, or is just more bluff and more, smoke from mainstream media to try to divide us further?
Well, I'm a Florida resident, and I think Governor DeSantis has done an outstanding job here. And I think he's really followed, in the footsteps, leading that America First charge. President Trump, really, it's Trump's Republican conservative party. It's a big tent. We're all in it with the same ideas and viewpoints. We all really treasure and respect strong leadership like we had under President Trump. And I think they enjoy a very good working relationship. President Trump was instrumental in securing the victory and election for Governor DeSantis when he was running, and it was really great to see, and I'm certainly appreciative that he backed him so strongly so that we have such strong governor here in the state of Florida. Both amazing and patriotic men who love this country. Thank you very much, Kimberly Guilfoyle. I always, I always try not to butcher people's last name because mine gets butchered all the time, so I'm sorry if I did that. Thank you very much for being in Perspectiva USA with us. Absolutely. A pleasure to be on with you.
Amigos, y no se mueva que ya regresamos con más de Perspectiva USA aquí en Americano Media.